Welcome to this video about Thesis Distribution and Examination eForm. This video will demonstrate the process of thesis examination. When the thesis is ready for you to examine, you will be provided with login details via email. Once you have opened the eForm, navigating is simple. You can step forwards and backwards through the pages by clicking the next and back arrows. You can also skip to a particular page by clicking the page title on the sidebar. Mandatory fields are marked with a red asterisk. The form will prevent you from stepping to the next page if you have not completed all the mandatory fields. Pages with incomplete fields show up as red on the sidebar and also marked with an X. You cannot submit the eForm with incomplete pages. You can save the eForm using the Save button and return to it later. Note that the eForm does not automatically save on exiting. If the candidate has indicated that their thesis contains sensitive or confidential information, you will be asked to agree to a non-disclosure agreement before being granted access to the thesis. If a non-disclosure agreement is not required, this stage of the form will be skipped. The introduction page gives you an overview of what you can do in this state of the eForm. The Thesis Details page gives you information on the examination as well as details on the request for thesis access restriction. At this point you may choose to accept the conditions of the non-disclosure agreement or decline. If you decline, you will be withdrawn from the examination process. If you accept the conditions of the non-disclosure agreement, you can now submit the eForm. Once your acceptance has been submitted, click on the link to open the next stage of the eForm. The introduction page gives you an overview of what you can do in this state of the eForm. On the Thesis Details page, you will be able to view details on the thesis and download an electronic copy of the thesis as well as supporting materials from the repository. Here you are also given the opportunity to withdraw from the examination using the checkbox. If you would like to withdraw from the examination, you will not be asked any further questions and may submit the eForm to complete your withdrawal. If you have a conflict of interest to declare, you must indicate this using the checkbox. Please provide further details in the text area before submitting the eForm. The Associate Dean will review the eForm and indicate whether they approve your continuing involvement in their examination. If you are clear to continue, the eForm will be returned to you for completion. After reviewing the thesis, you have to rate it based on a number of criteria. For each of the criteria, use the checkboxes to select a rating on a scale from flawed to exceptional. Next, you will be required to provide a detailed report. Please indicate whether you will be uploading your report or whether you'd like to enter it in the text area provided. You may compile your report in another program and copy and paste the content to this text area. If you are uploading a PDF report, it is important that you obscure your identity in both the report content as well as the metadata attached to the file. Tick the checkbox once you have removed all identifying information from your report. Finally, you have to recommend an outcome of the examination by selecting an outcome from the list. If your recommendation includes corrections or revisions to be made by the candidate, please specify what changes are required. If you recommend that they be re-examined, please indicate whether you are willing to re-examine the thesis after it has been revised. If you have selected an excellent or exceptional rating for any of the above criteria, you may indicate whether you believe the candidate's thesis is worthy of consideration for the J.G. Crawford Prize for Academic Excellence. The consent page is where you indicate your desired level of anonymity once the examination is complete. Please indicate whether or not you consent to your name being revealed to the candidate or your co-examiners. The payment page is where you provide personal and banking details to organize payment for your examination of the thesis. Please enter your details in the text areas provided. You may choose to either input banking details directly or upload an invoice containing your bank details for either an Australian or international bank, or email an organizational invoice at a later date. If your bank is Australian, please either provide your ABN or provide an ABN withholding statement by supplier or agree to withholding tax. Once you have completed your report, submit the eForm to the examinations office. Thank you for your interest in the thesis and examination improvements to the HDR student eForms.